So Alan Sugar has said that my next guest is destined for big things. Zack Fortag.
Zack Fortag.
Zack Fortag is the founder of the Ahead of Time Academy.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our third part of mine and Joe's series. This is being brought to you by Hackney's Finest and Ahead of Time Academy. The topic that I really want to discuss today is for young people adapting in business, because a lot of times when you're young and you start a business first and you have issues, it's easy to sort of stop, it's easy to fail, it's easy to quit. So sort of how is that important to adapt in a business, not just to the current climate, to an issue you may face in your business?
Especially as well with being young. One hurdle I did have a lot when I was younger, when I was like 15, 16, even when I was in primary school, but I didn't think of it back then, is when you want to get like a business account, you have to be 18 or you have to get in someone's name. So ideally don't focus on that as much, because there is a certain amount of money you need to make you can have a normal current account, but if you want to get a business account, it's fine. You don't have to go that far at the start. But that's one of the things I was thinking about, was if I make so and so, would I need a business account? Not as such, you would not ideally need one. You can still use your current account. There's a lot of adapting at the start. You need to adapt in general, but especially as well with how people treat you. That's the one thing, is people treat you when you try something. You either try when you're trying to stick out. One thing I like to say, being like an orange whale, because when you want to be different, you get the most criticism, and when you're doing a business, you have to adapt to that as well. You have to adapt this thick skin, because if you don't, it will crumble, because a lot of people will just give you a lot of criticism for nothing, because they see you doing something different than other people, in their own eyes. But best advice I can give you is just keep on going. But that's one adaptable thing I had to start at such a young age, is where a lot of people just kept on giving me stick for starting so young, and telling them, oh, you've got uni, college, got all this, but you want to do this. I'm like, I know why I want to do this, because I know I can. But yeah, that's one thing I'd say, is you need a thick skin at the start.
Yeah, I think another issue as well when you're starting young is certain people not taking you seriously. I think if you start at 15, 16, there's a lot of people who sort of won't take you seriously unless you prove to them that you can do it. So that's something you have to learn to sort of deal with. And as you mentioned, there'll be a lot of people, it might be your parents, might be your friends, who want to not hate on it, but don't think it's the best idea for you to do. I would say stick with your convictions and definitely start a business you want to start, because you don't know how sort of successful it can be. What would you say to people right now who've started a business and are struggling with COVID?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with my business, with the clothing line business. I ideally wanted to get out this year, still sorting out bits and bobs, but to do a first collection, ideally that got pushed back. We're supposed to do October, we're in November now, and ideally it's looking like it's going to be January. That's because of what's happening with COVID at the moment. But I think with what's going on, when we had this conversation in around January, March, February time, we had a conversation about doing events, and ideally that got pushed back. We're still sorting it out, and but Zack persevered, and he was consistent in creating, and he had to adapt himself. But with people that are starting businesses now, I would say best thing to do with what's going on is to get into networking group chats as well. Because when you've got other people around you, that ideally helps as well. So with me and Zack, I didn't have this. When I was till 15 to 17, I ideally didn't have really good business-minded people around me. I still had my mates that would like to go out a lot. So if you start attracting people like you, that ideally helps as well. But with other problems with COVID, the reason why I give that example is because ideally with what's going on with the national lockdown, a lot of people will be indoors for the next 4 weeks, and some of them won't be allowed to travel or go out or do certain things. And if you have the right people around you within that time, and even after, it will help bouncing ideas and such of. There's loads of things, but there's a lot of other things Zack could give that can help with that.
What I would say on COVID, as you know, when we started in around February time, we were going to be an events company, so we were all about physical events, young people connecting with each other. We had all of our events booked. We had a venue, we had partners, sponsors, and all of that in the space of a week basically went. So what you have to do is you have to learn to sort of adapt to that situation. We managed to turn everything online. And that's what we're kind of lucky with at the moment, because back in the olden days, you would have been completely stuck. But now, you have things like Zoom and cameras to record yourself. So that's what we've done. And, instead of focusing on just London, we now have partners all across the UK, and we have people who join our webinars and visit our sites from, all over the world now. So you've always got to try and turn a negative into a positive, I think, in business and in life. So that's something which is very important to adapt into business,
Yeah, and I would say as well, with the online, coming back to that, is ideally it's probably the best time to, if your business is not it's a commerce, not an e-commerce business, if it's a shop-based retail, ideally it'd be best to now try and create that website, try and push it to online. That's one adaptable advantage you could do within these times, is to ideally push more online, as it's ideally, it's going to be the one thing you could do, because a lot of people won't be able to go out and I would say push online as much as you can.
Yeah, also what I would say is, a lot of people are sort of negative and struggling with this pandemic, but if you're someone that can, turn it into positive and actually achieve something and be better when you come out of it than when you're in it, then, you can sort of achieve and deal with any problem that your business will face. So it's something that I would say, is important. Make sure you do adapt into business, and you will go well. If people don't adapt, then what could happen?
Yeah, if people don't adapt, there's a lot of things. So for example, not within the lockdown itself, but in business in general for the next 5 years, people say 99% of businesses fail within 5 years. It's a true statistic, and it does. And my dad's one of them, and I know a lot of people that have started businesses and then they've crumbled. Within the lockdown, it's critical to really double down. Even though if you won't adapt in anything in life, you won't get far. If it's like it's trying to teach an old dog new tricks. You can't do it, and that's with yourself. If you do not keep on reading these books, if you keep not looking at the latest news, if you do not look at the latest podcasts, if you don't look at the latest videos on your industry, ideally you're not really going to get far, and that's why it's so crucial to adapt and be adaptable in your marketplace, because there's so many people competing, so many people that are going for your share, or you're trying to go for some other people's shares in the industry, and it's so important. I would say it's really up there.
Yeah, I think that's some really good tips. That's really how you would adapt to a business as a young person. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back next week with some more episodes.